She looked up from the book that she was reading and decided that she was gonna take a run. She wasn't getting enough exercise in, and she wanted to make sure that she and her baby were healthy. It was drawing time close for her to have the baby, and she wanted nothing to go wrong at the time. She put on her shoes, grabbed her watch and a bottle of water, and shouted out to her mom, "Mom, I'm going for a run." Her mother hesitated and then said, "Why? It's so late in the evening." She hardly heard what her mom said, but she quickly went through the door before her mom could stop her. She ran for 15 minutes, and on her way back, she started to just walk. She could hear laughter coming from the neighbor's yard as she circled the corner to get to her home. As she was about 15 steps away from her home, she felt something sharp sink into the heel of her feet. She didn't even hear when or how the dog had approached her. All she knew is that she was being attacked. She let out a soft whimper as she realized what was happening to her. She then started to scream, but her screams seemed as if they were being drowned out by the noise of a truck that was passing by. She felt herself being dragged as the dog pulled her into close bushes. She wondered when this nightmare would end. She felt as the dog grabbed onto her knee and bit into her knee with his sharp tooth. She felt blood running from her hands as she had tried to push him off, but he had bitten her on her hand. He then moved up to her belly. She tried her best to protect her unborn child, but felt when the dog's teeth sunk into her belly. She was so frightened, she didn't know what to do. She cried out, but it seems no one could hear her. She fought with all her might, but felt her strength going until it was gone. She wondered if anyone at all had heard her screaming and if she would be rescued at any time. As she lay there, going in and out of consciousness, she could feel the dog sniffing and licking at her blood, biting her in places all over her body. At one point, he grabbed onto one of her breast that was swollen because of how close she was to finally pushing out her baby. And when he did, she felt a sharp pain rackle all her body, but all she could do was lie there. Finally, she heard a loud sound like a whistle, and the dog let go of her and ran away. She lay there. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to move. Her body felt swollen and tired because of the fight that she had put up to protect herself and her baby. She lay there for what seemed like hours. She cried because she was in so much pain. Just as she thought that there was no end to the pain and suffering that she was feeling, she heard a voice. Someone calling out to something. She said. She heard a voice say, "Come, Rover. Come, Rover." She panicked inside because she soon heard what was not a mistake of 4 feet running towards her. She was so scared because she thought that this dog was coming back to attack her again. She crouched as far down into the bush as she could and curled into a fetal position just to see if she could hide herself from the dog. But he found her. The dog was upon her before she could even move. She lost consciousness again. When she regained consciousness, she felt the dog over her. But this was a different dog. The dog was licking at her wounds and whimpering. She realized that this dog was her neighbor's dog. And the voice that she had heard was her neighbor's. They were searching for the dog. Finally had found her. The dog had led them to her. She heard when her friend Sally let out a loud scream, a scream that terrified even her, and shouted out to her father to call the police and an ambulance. Soon after, she lost consciousness again and woke up when she felt Sally's hand pressing on her chest and holding onto her hand with the other. She could hear the sounds of sirens and felt so much better because she knew that she was gonna get help for her and her baby. They picked her up and put her into the ambulance, and she lost consciousness again. When she awoke, this time she was in the hospital. Doctors and nurses were gathered all around her. She could see the concern etched on all their faces. She had the most important question to ask. Is my baby okay? The doctor looked away for a second, and then when he looked back, he had a big smile on his face. Then he said, "Your baby is fine. Your baby is fine. It's a baby girl. We had to take her from you because of the injuries that you had, and we didn't want anything to happen to her. But your baby is going to be okay." She felt numb and pained, but she wanted to be able to hold her bundle of joy in her arms. She stretched out her hands, and the doctor placed the baby in her arms. What a joy she felt when she was able to see her young baby for the very first time. And the joy of knowing that she had made it through one of her deepest fears with her unborn child. And on the other side, she was saved. She looked at her sweet baby's face and smiled. Soon her mom bustled in, crying and praising God that her daughter had survived and that her granddaughter was happy and healthy. Please subscribe to the channel. Tell me what you thought about the story and let me know what other topics or titles you would want to hear about in my next story. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Have a good day.